Hey beautiful ones, Rosie Glow here with a little video about the glitches in the matrix and the building of the bridge into the divine matrix, which is what we're creating. And yes, I did want to talk about the latest Matrix movie. I promise you I will not tell you what happened, but there are some things that are so important to highlight in this amazing story and this epic adventure and kind of where we're at in our consciousness as a humanity in relation to where the movie series, well I say series, but the trilogy and beyond the trilogy has got to. So if you're new to me, I am a multidimensional success coach. I'm also the maverick behind the Star Peace movement, and that's why I wanted to talk about this movie, because it is all about us seeding peace on earth through being aware of what we are putting ourselves into alignment with when we choose our entertainment. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was an A-level student, I did study theatre studies, and in many ways it kind of ruined theatre for me, because it was all about being able to see how everything relates to create the effect that they want you to have to experience as total theatre. You may have heard of Bertolt Brecht and the way that he kind of worked with that, but whichever way around we look at this, I see that life imitates art. And you could question, does life imitate art or does art imitate life? And we could go round and round and round forever. But my particular focus is the fact that what we actually focus on in our entertainment times when we're relaxing, we are energizing. And we have a global addiction to adrenaline, which I will discuss another time. But what I loved about this particular movie and where we're at in this series of movies is how we utilize this addiction to adrenaline to move into an addiction to oxytocin, which is the love hormone. Now, my background is very much in birth and early influences and understanding how our time from our conception through the first 7 years of life really shape our expectation of the world around us, but in particular our time in the womb and our birth. So what is important here is to address an exciting shift in what has been put forward. For a little while I've been utilising the analogy of the Matrix movies, the trilogy that exists so far, as an example of the fourth dimension. I was saying that it was really, really good at being able to focus on highlighting the problem in our 3D reality, but without really offering a solution that I would call the 5D frequency, which is us co-creating through a love intention, a love-based paradigm on earth. Now, if I was ever in doubt, I'm not in doubt now. Keanu and me on the same page, baby, absolutely. And so is everyone else in that movie. There is a sense of being able to look at the symbolism. So I know some people have been disappointed because they were somehow expecting to be better entertained and it seemed like it was more of the same. Like, look at what's underneath. Look at the symbolism. And by the way, if you are turning up at the cinema to see The Matrix and you've got one of those things on and then you take it off and you put it back on again, when you come out, I'm like, definitely missing the point. So, sheeple were mentioned in the movie, okay? The very word. Another amazing thing that actually happened was that a very strange alliance was formed that basically helped those who are of the light and in service to others to triumph in the end, but it was only a stepping stone and not a long-term alliance. And this is very interesting about how we kind of form alliances to be able to get to the next stage of our journey, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we stay the whole journey with those that we create alliances or relationships with. So, you know, if you think about what's going on in this world today, I have heard through various things I've seen on Gaia TV that there is something like 22 different extraterrestrial experiments going on here on this earth at this time. Now, are they all positive experiments or are they all negative experiments? And by that I mean, are these experiments that are supporting humanity to be sovereign, to empower themselves, or to actually just be fuel for other living beings, sentient beings that are utilising our energy for their own will? And here's the thing, there were so many things within this movie that just made me think, okay, can humanity grasp at this point that everything is totally random and totally on purpose all at the same time? Because if we can do that, we can start to really move forward. So the glitches in the Matrix, as I see it, are really this awareness in the collective at large at the moment that obviously there is still a narrative that's being put forward, despite the fact that it doesn't matter what we seem to do, we're not actually getting the results we want. But people keep going, if I just do this, if I just do this, if I just do this, then I will get my freedom back. And it's like, no, darling, that's not what's going to happen. The stick will stay behind you, the carrot will stay in front of you, and it will just keep going because this is how it works. And one of the key things that this latest Resurrections movie actually does state is that, people ultimately want to be controlled because that's what makes them feel safe. And that's really interesting when you see these freedom fighters, whether they're in the movie or they're actually in the world today, seeking to liberate everybody from this big slumber that we're in, and to recognise that we can take our power back, that we can be sovereign beings, we can have our freedom. And people are basically going, I'm all right, thanks. I'm quite comfortable with my life as it is. I know what I'm doing. I know what's coming next, and know who I need to listen to and who I need to stay away from. And this is the situation that we're in, is how much of humanity really does want to be liberated. And by the way, this is the perfect point for me to say, look out on Instagram, on Facebook. At the moment, we're putting a lot of promo out for the Liberation from Limitation course, which is a phenomenal 6-week course for helping you to use your conscious mind to work for you rather than against you, and give you the most phenomenal shifts in the fastest time. Now, this whole creation came to me as a download in a dream state, and it is on special offer until the 31st of December only. Okay, got a really nice discount on it if you want to join us. And this is about creating the divine matrix in your own life. So what is the divine matrix? It's creating the very best version of circumstances you possibly could. Whatever circumstances you've got, what's the very best you can make of them, right? What is it that we do if we do take control of the game of life and it's all up to us, and this is our life that we're creating? What is it we really want for ourselves? And what Liberation from Limitation does is actually gets you to home in on the key areas of your life that aren't working the way you want, and to rewrite the narratives. But you can't do that until you've gathered all the information that we gather over the 6 weeks. So it's really amazing. And if you're watching this and you scroll a little further down, you'll see that there's an invitation to a free web class, and that will kind of give you the first bit of the first module in Liberation from Limitation, and it will give you a sense of what's coming if you actually do decide to join us. So I highly recommend you check that out, because each of us becoming the authors of our own books, the screenwriters of our own plays, of our own movies, is what this is all about. And we get to choose what we want to experience. And when we go and see a movie, we energize what is in that movie by being focused on it. So I always invite you to consider, why are you going to see something? What is it you want out of it? What is it you want from it? How do you want to feel? Start to consider this, because I'm predicting that entertainment is going to become a lot more responsible over the next 10, 20 years. And we'll really start to understand this influence of the subconscious subliminal programming that's going on all of the time when we're watching things that we think we're just watching for fun. And we think, oh, it's just entertainment, it's not really affecting me. Yes, it is. It's going deep. It's talking to you in code. And the whole of the Matrix Resurrections movie was, as far as I was concerned, pure code. Here you have those who are awakening, questioning whether they're completely mad because they've been told they're mad, and they're being given the choice between a daily, effectively blue pill. Well, what do we all take daily, my friends, that we just take down so we can make the world a better place? Maybe it's a cigarette, maybe it's a drink, maybe it's a pharmaceutical of some description, maybe it's something that isn't legal. It's still something that we take to numb out because we don't like suffering, and yet we are addicted to it. So we're in this constant cycle. Or do we want the truth pill? Are we prepared to take it and actually wake ourselves up from the illusion and the delusion around us, when it looks like we've got one uphill struggle after another to actually face and meet if we do ultimately take this pill? So it's very powerful and important, I feel, to recognise this. And what's also very interesting in this movie is how Neo's constantly questioning himself, and what actually happened in it was that love reigned supreme in the end. Love won. And again, I'm not going to spoil this for you, but for all of us, when we have a choice between a service to self, which is, I don't really care about how anyone else is affected by the decisions I make. This is for me, this is what I want, screw you, which kind of the 80s epitomised, but so has all of the patriarchy to some degree. This whole concept of like service to others and service to self, just to be clear, that service to others is the path of us being compassionate, humanitarian, interconnected beings, but it's kind of been overtaken by the mainstream narrative of the greater good. It's a misinterpretation of service to others. I want to make very, very clear that those that are promoting the greater good path in the collective are actually service to self individuals. So just bear this in mind, lovely ones, because there is a lot of subtext and misinformation that is out there, and all truth seems to have been shrouded in some form of mistruth. And if we can accept that as we look back through history, we'll be able to start to discern fact from fiction. But in this movie, what we're really seeing is the feminine rising. We're seeing the masculine trust the feminine, the way the feminine has trusted the masculine. We're seeing the feminine come back and kick ass. I mean, kick ass. And there are a few lines that just made me think, oh my goodness, this is so spot on. One of them was a line that Trinity used, which was, and that was for bringing the children into it, or that was because of the children. So the children were utilised as a pawn in the big game, and boy, did whoever created that problem pay for it. Secondly, there was a mention of rainbows. And, you know, I've been talking about the rainbow flame for a while, and I really just want to say that I'm seeing, you know, life imitating art all of the time. So when I start seeing clues in the art of what is coming, I get really excited. And that's why I can see that, you know, this bridge from the old world of this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. This is how we show you there are glitches in the matrix, by you seeing that, you know, ultimately there is a choice between being ignorant and actually making informed decisions and being a critical thinker, which is in our mainstream world. Well, you start to build the bridge to the new world, but the new world hasn't been created yet. And the only way we can really create the new world is through accessing our source codes, which was also mentioned in the movie. And there comes a point at which the feminine connects to source, and through her capacity to connect to source, everything changes. That's when we start to download the idea of what is the world we want to create out of this. If we're going to have to switch one virtual reality for another because the majority of the population doesn't want to wake up, then what's the best world we can create for that population, and slowly support those that are ready to wake up to wake up. This is why I'm so excited. So if you're still with me, oh my, it's so worth going to see, because you are energizing this potential for new narratives in the collective. And another little thing I just want to mention to you is, if you would like to connect with me in person, I am holding a New Year workshop, yoga-based, multidimensional yoga-based workshop on Saturday the 8th in Haywards Heath, I believe it is. And this will be an afternoon event. And again, there are some information all around it, but it is again about us downloading our divine matrix, so our source codes, our optimal alignment, so that we can then start to get a sense of what it is we want to create in our world. Because most people don't know what they want. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. So combine liberation from limitation with this physical in-person workshop, and you are talking about an amazing start to 2022. And I believe this Matrix Resurrections movie really is an amazing start, a precursor to what 2022 is going to bring. So definitely go and watch it, and please don't be like, oh, it's more of the same. Just look for the subtext, because the symbolism is everywhere, my friends. It's absolutely everywhere. And if you look at it, you're going to be really excited. What else was there that I wanted to mention? Oh, in this, Tiff's husband is not very nice. And I loved seeing that, you know, this is an opportunity where the feminine really awoke from the programming, and that's what allowed the masculine to gain its power as well. So there's a lot of divine masculine, divine feminine coding there, twin flame coding, the power of love when two awaken to their truth. Friggin' amazing, absolutely amazing. So what was it I was going to say? There's one more thing that I think epitomizes it, which is when you long for something more than you have, but are too scared to lose what you have. That was the epitome of where most of humanity is, in their fear of awakening beyond what they actually know. Anything else? Go watch it. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, let me know what you think. So much love. Take care.